88.7 KAZI, and welcome to the Juice and Jam Show. I am Steve Savage, and today we have a guest in the studio, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you.
Hello, everyone. This is Victoria Brussard, author of I Comfortable Victim.
Victoria, tell us about yourself. Who is Victoria?
Well, Victoria is a very complicated person, as people will find when they read my book. I am the child of a retired Air Force mother who joined the military when I was only 2 years old, and she was 17 at that time. We traveled all over abroad. We lived in Spain. We lived in Germany. I lived in upstate New York. I lived in Mississippi. I lived in Florida. I've been all over, and then when I turned 17, it was time to come back home to Texas, and I came to the University of Texas. But I'm also an attorney, which many people in the area will probably know who've hired me over the past 8 years. I specialize in family law and do a little bit of criminal and probate as well.
Okay. And so today, why are you here today?
Today I'm here to talk about my first book. It's called I Comfortable Victim. I really just wanted to connect with readers today and give them an opportunity to know who I am and to really know and understand the reason why I wrote this book.
Okay. So why the title I Comfortable Victim?
Well, I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse that went undisclosed and unresolved for the better part of my life. And so I felt as though once I came to the knowledge that I was way more damaged than I ever wanted to believe, I felt as though it was time to change. And that change started with recognizing that I had become a comfortable victim over the span of my lifetime because I would not deal with what happened to me, and I wanted to heal, and I wanted to use my journey to my true self and help other people find that same journey.
Okay. So is this your first book you've written?
It is my first book.
Okay. But you are a writer, though, as well.
Oh, absolutely. I have always been a writer. I've written my entire life. I was also on the Law Review in law school, and I served as the executive editor. I've always written, always edited, and writing the book kind of came like second nature for me.
Okay. You want to read an excerpt out the book?
Oh, sure. I'd be happy to. I don't know if too many people know, but although it is the story of my life, I did write it through a fictional prose because I wanted people to be able to identify with the characters instead of identifying necessarily with me as a person. That way, maybe they could get a little bit more healing from the experience. So what I'll read now is a little bit of the dialogue. Just then, I felt a trickle down my left nostril. My nose was still bleeding, and my head felt like it was being crushed between two simples. The nurse came back in and handed me a clean, cold compress. "The doctor will be in to visit you shortly, Miss Delacroix," she said, rather unemotionally. "Thank you very much." The door slammed, and I flashed back to the small apartment where I tolerated many arguments and rumbles with my boyfriend of 2 years, Maximus. Max and I met in undergraduate school, but didn't begin dating until law school. I was now a 3L, soon to be graduating with honors and anticipating a lucrative career with one of the top law firms in the nation. Max was a 2L, but he sat out for 1 year after undergraduate school, still goofing off and showing no commitment to achieving anything noteworthy. The only reason he entered law school was to keep tabs on me and ride my coattail. The saga had become old and tired, and this last episode had me so low, I knew I had to let him go or suffer a fate sure to end in my demise or his. For the past 2 years, he set out to single-handedly drive me mad with his nonsensical, narcissistic jargon and manipulative tactics. It started with barely detectable verbal and emotional abuse and insidiously graduated to all-out degradation, both publicly and privately. And now, at its peak, physical abuse. One good right hook to the right side of my face that left my nose bleeding profusely and swollen twice its normal size. Along with the bloody nose special, I got a side of 2 black eyes and a whopping headache to go. The punch knocked me off balance and I swirled around, landing on my wrist. This was the first time Max had ever laid a hand on me, and I was in utter disbelief. Not so much at him, but at me, for not instantly calling the hounds on his bent behind. Why hadn't I called the police to have him handcuffed and arrested with haste for his unwarranted, inhumane mistreatment of me? What was so wrong in my head that I allowed myself to be misused to this degree?
Okay. So when is the movie coming out?
That's an interesting question, Steve, because even before I got a book in my hand, people were already talking about making it a play and a movie.
Well, the way you was reading that, you put your heart and your soul into it, so you could tell that it's a natural thing for you. So I could, hey, the movie should be coming out soon.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So if for people just tuned in, what's the name of the book and how can they get the book?
The name of my book is I, Comfortable Victim, and you can purchase it now by going to www.icomfortablevictim.com, where you can purchase an autographed copy or an ebook.
Okay. So when is your book signing in Austin? You have a book signing in Austin?
I did. I already had my 2 book signings a couple of weeks ago. We'll probably be doing something else here shortly, though. I've got a new happening going on. I've recently signed with Shavoom Entertainment out of West Palm Beach, Florida, and they will begin managing me effective immediately.
Okay. So how long did it take you to write your book?
I started writing in August of 2012, and I finished in February of 2014.
Okay. You have a new project you're working on, or you're just trying to get through this one first?
I'm still practicing law, and I'm trying to get through this. Where the marketing is getting ready to go into high gear with my publisher, Tate Publishing, as well as I did start a nonprofit organization called Beyond the Unveiling, and the mission of my nonprofit is to eradicate childhood sexual abuse, because I dream of a world where it does not exist, and I know that that's a tall order, but if you don't dream, then nothing happens.
Correct. I see you have your hands in a lot of things. You have any other projects you're working on?
Well, I'm constantly working on my son, who is a sophomore at the University of New England in Maine. He's still kind of a project. So, and then we just are constantly just looking for new ways to get the word out. One of the things that my new management company is interested in doing is getting us in the prisons right now, because there are a lot of people in the prison systems who are hurting and who we believe can really benefit both men and women from a book that is both entertaining, healing, resourceful, funny, something that can bring a little bit of light as well as hope to people in prison.
Okay. So I have a question for you. You practice law. Why did you pick the field that you picked?
Well, me being a lawyer was something that my mom said I should always do, even when I was a little girl. And so when I was about 30, I decided, okay, let's go ahead and make that happen, or else she's never, ever, ever going to stop bugging me about it. And you can read all about my mom in my book. Her character's name is Dina DeBardeau, and that's funny. But so I finally decided that I would go ahead and get it done. And so law school was kind of natural for me as well. I'm kind of a studious person. And I knew I needed to take care of my son and make sure that I provided for him. But it just felt natural, whenever you take those tests that tell you what you should be when you grow up. Mine always said I should be a lawyer or a psychiatrist. So I think in writing this book and all the other things that I've got my hands in, I have the best of all worlds. Thank God.
Okay. Well, since you're right, you're an attorney. So what do you do for fun, for a hobby? You have a hobby other than writing and
Well, wow, I have people ask me that question, and it always stumps me. There's a lot of things I like to do.
Your mother said nothing. She's shaking her head saying nothing.
I love to roller skate.
Okay.
That was something I used to do when I was growing up, and I still do. My family and I, we had a roller skating outing about 2 or 3 months ago, and that was big fun. I love to watch movies. I love movies. Not so much television. I can definitely live without television, but not without movies. And I love to go to my church and worship and serve the Lord, and that's a wonderful place for me to release, a lot of the things that I feel. Sometimes I have a lot of anxiety with all that's going on, because I got to keep track of a whole bunch of stuff. And hopefully with my new entertainment company helping me and managing me, I'll be able to be a little bit better with time management.
So what is your favorite movie of all times?
Wow, that's an interesting question. I was just talking to my mom about a movie that I love called Meet the Robinsons. It's actually a cartoon,
Okay.
but there's a part in the movie that never ever left me. And this is a difficult question because I love so many movies, but I think the principle of this particular scene in this movie is something that a lot of people need to hear. Failure is just a setup for your next success. I think a lot of times when we fail or when we miss the mark or make a mistake, we focus on that, and that's not the focus. The focus should be, what did you learn from that issue, from that failure? And so there's a part in the movie Meet the Robinsons where the person is an inventor, and they come in and they go to show the whole family what their invention was, and they're so proud of it. Well, the invention flops, and it just breaks up, and all the parts just fly all over the place. And everybody starts clapping and going, yay, yay, you failed marvelously. And I think if we can get that in our spirits, that failure is just a setup for you to succeed. And so that's one of the most favorite parts of a movie for me.
Okay, cool. Any last things you'd like to say before we conclude this?
There are a couple of things I'd like to say, particularly about survivors of childhood sexual abuse. My book, I Comfortable Victim, is my labor of love to all survivors, because what we went through as children, when all of our most precious and vulnerable characteristics were used against us, like love and forgiveness and caring and wanting to please, all of that stuff was turned around and twisted so badly, and there's a lot of damage that can occur psychologically from that. And so the reason that I wrote I Comfortable Victim is to help survivors to start the healing process and to start that open, continual, and non-judgmental dialogue about what happened to them, so that they can receive their full healing and make their destiny happen for them.
Okay. Well, Victoria, thanks for stopping by, and wish you much success in the future.
Thank you so much, Dee, for having me. God bless you, and God bless all the listeners.